it hurts. And I'm too sexy for Milan, too sexy for Milan, New York and Japan.
Welcome back, everybody, this week to Doin' with Styles. I got a really interesting guest today. Her name is Gladney. That's R-H-I, Gladney, right?
R-H-I, Gladney.
And we've known each other for a couple of years now, right?
Yeah, it's been a while.
And you are starting out on a new venture that is absolutely, I'm fascinated. I'm absolutely blown away. I really want to find out more about this. And the company that you're starting, is called Feather Flights.
Yes.
What the hell is Feather Flights?
Okay.
Are you going to play Icarus or something like that? Or
in our own way, I suppose. Well, kind of eliminate, because he has fire on his chariot, right?
No. He's the one who put on the wax wings and flew too close to the sun and crashed.
Yeah, that's the fire.
You're thinking of Helios.
Who is Helios?
Helios is the guy who, the fire chariot,
Okay, I need to catch up on my mythology.
There you go. Yeah. So that's your first assignment. No. So,
That's my first assignment.
So tell me about Feather Flights. What the hell is Feather Flights?
So we are an electric airline. No, we're working to be an electric airline. We want to be the first airline with a completely electric fleet. We are focusing on building the airline first before going into manufacturing, which sets us apart from our competition. So there are about 6 to 10 notable startups that have already built electric plane startups or electric plane prototypes that have been manned and done flights. And they've participated at different air shows, and they're amazing. And
So how big are they? Or I mean, if you're going to start an airline, you got to be able to carry people.
yes.
So, I mean, are these large passenger planes like 747s?
No,
These
they are not.
Just little, like a little Piper Cub or something like that.
Yeah, we're going to be a private airline to begin with.
Okay.
We're also looking into being hybrid for a while and looking into conversion kit options.
Okay.
Which is a really cool intermediary, and the official marketing term we use is for sustainable airline if we end up going that route. We are starting with hosting our own air shows, so similar to the Cat Cafe where that I did previously, we would turn a space into a cat cafe for the day while we were waiting for our permanent location.
Right.
We're turning like different airports, like a little section of the airport, into our own for the day, installing little chargers, and we're doing sustainable air shows for those startups. So
Wow.
We're inviting them to race each other and participate, and we're all kind of going to work together in that way to grow this segment of the industry.
So having been a pilot myself, I have a number of questions.
Please.
So, number one, you have to propel the aircraft.
Yes.
Okay. So you're either going to use propellers or jet engines. And since I don't know of an electric jet engine, most of these planes are going to be prop jobs.
A lot of them are kind of helicopter hybrids, and it's really interesting. They take off vertically,
Okay.
and then go from there.
Okay.
It's really interesting to see, and the efficiency isn't quite there yet. The batteries aren't quite there yet. I had the honor of touring some manufacturing facilities in Europe recently, and they are a few years out of really making them to where they need to be commercial.
Right.
But hey,
What kind of airspeeds can they reach? I mean,
it entirely depends, and that is something that I can't quote for you right now.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
I would have a list of all of the
this
numbers, and I should.
Yeah, this is obviously a new concept or a relatively new concept. We're supposed to have flying cars by now, but we don't. So somebody get on that. And I guess that's what you're doing, right?
A little bit.
Okay.
It was really funny. I did this entrepreneurship program in San Francisco recently, and we do practice pitching, and I did a pitch, and one of my colleagues, one of my peers, they were like, would making like a flying school bus really make you happy? Like, he's like, I'll give you some lint and some bubble gum, and like that's like basically where your dream is at. And I got to tour Airbus a month later, and
wow.
I was like, somebody said this to you, and hey, your name is Airbus, so that is how I feel. Like that I wish I was able, like I thought of that to reply at the time, but I mean, they got to be as big as they are, starting from somewhere,
yeah.
right? And like, if the Wright brothers weren't crazy enough to fly to begin with, and they had a few competitors then too, but look at, we have a whole industry now.
So what is you said there are some prototypes out there. I mean, are we talking 2 or 3, or is there like a bunch of them? Or, I mean, how big is this industry starting? I mean,
about 6 to 10 notable startups that have prototypes. Some of them have already participated in air shows. We're going to start with our sustainable air show. So we're going to be the first one to focus entirely on sustainable airplanes.
Okay.
And in that way, instead of being their competitor, we end up becoming their best advertisement. And also, as we become more permanent of an airline, we're going to end up being their best customer.
Sure. So you're just going to, you're not into the manufacturing or design of the aircraft. You are designing, or you are basically going to be, okay, now that you've got that done, we have somebody, we'll buy your plane from you so that we can be the airline. You know, it's like Greyhound. They don't make buses, they buy buses, and so that's your, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So a lot of the major airlines are moving in the sustainable direction. The whole industry is, but they're operating on such slim margins that implementation is going to be slow. So to be a startup airline that will just buy their airplanes outright, we're going to be a great customer for them. We're willing to take that bet immediately, and we're going to have all that licensing done really quickly, because that's all our focus is.
I just have so many questions. I'm trying to put them in some kind of order that they make sense to other people, not just me. So what kind of range do these planes have at this point? I mean, how long or how far can they fly?
Short distances, so we're looking at being an island hopper airline to begin with, so to kind of mitigate that risk as much as possible.
Like from Las Vegas to Phoenix or something like that?
Yeah, so like Las Vegas to San Francisco, Las Vegas to LA, Las Vegas to Salt Lake City.
Right.
Nothing like really far out there.
Not transatlantic yet.
No.
Yeah.
No. We would like to get into manufacturing eventually, but there are enough startups already in that direction that we kind of want to start in a different way.
Well, unless you have something unique that you could bring to the table in that area, why bother?
I agree.
You go into an area where there's going to be a need, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you can manufacture airplanes, then what are you going to do with them? You got to sell them to somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And pretty much no airline manufactures their own airplanes. They buy from Airbus or Boeing.
Sure.
So it's not like beyond the pale that's just how operations pretty much go. There are some smaller airlines that do their own manufacturing, and more power to you. It's just kind of rare.
That's amazing. And how long has this been a thing?
It's pretty recent. I can't necessarily quote its inception.
Yeah, no.
But less than a decade, I'd say. People have been wanting electric airplanes since the inception of airplanes. There are, you can go back to like the 50s. I was actually looking at this today. They were looking into nuclear-powered airplanes back when, but we live in Nevada.
Yeah.
We know how that goes if
Right.
it goes wrong.
Yeah.
Probably you would be more aware of how that could go wrong than the average person, right? Like just being a citizen here.
My instructor told me that flying an airplane is is hours and hours and hours of boredom interrupted by moments of sheer terror. And I thought that's a pretty good description. So let's talk about charging. How long does it take? So you fly from here to LA, and you get to LA, and you got to recharge the plane. How long does it take to do that?
It depends on the prototype. So they're actually racing for a turnaround time right now. Nuclear power is not electric, so I shouldn't have equated those. But people have been looking for sustainable other methods of flight since the 1950s, what I would say. As for charging time and flight turnaround, it completely varies. I don't have an exact number for you or even an average.
Because, refueling a plane you can do in 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Or, an hour tops if everybody's goofing off. But I would think that, trying to charge my cell phone or any other thing that has a battery that you charge, it's like hours. And I could just imagine that, the weight of the battery alone that you're going to have to, there's going to have to be some real innovations in that area as well. Because, we can't take any passengers because the battery's too heavy, can't get off the ground. Yeah, it works great, props turn, all that stuff, but, too much weight, we can't get off the ground. So that's another issue.
Yes, and that's why the adoption by the major airlines is going to be so slow to implementation.
Sure.
For that reason exactly. So they're moving towards a sustainable, side of things. But when you are used to being able to do a 30-minute turnaround and all of a sudden it's an hour to 2 hours longer, that really cuts into your profits, and airplane ticketing is kind of a race to the bottom. And that's the other thing, throwing in manufacturing plus airline operations. If we take on manufacturing right now instead of putting it down the road, we have this huge research and development cost to add to our ticketing prices.
Yeah.
That by doing partnerships, that severely reduces our ticket cost just right there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I also want to kind of redefine how we do ticketing. So I was thinking, are you familiar with like the Eurorail, where you buy?
Yes, you buy the pass.
Yes.
Right.
So for the beginning, we were thinking of just selling passes of, hey, like these flights are going to be kind of unpredictable. What about an airline pass?
Yeah.
And we also want to look into different cryptocurrency options and kind of diversify our revenue stream, which could potentially make things riskier because it's more volatile. But hey, like if we can kind of change our revenue structure that our margins are even slightly better, that gives us a huge competitive advantage.
So what about solar power?
Some planes
does that enter into it at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Some of the prototypes, actually, all of the wings are solar.
Right.
And it's amazing. It's sleek, it's beautiful, and it's functional. It's gorgeous. That it works. I can't necessarily say like efficiency comparisons to
right. Well, it's still
airplane.
Young, still early. What's to compare it to? There's so little comparisons there that how do you well, just figure it out. So.
Just figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had told me something about you're studying birds.
Yes.
As part of this, and how birds fly and.
Yes. Or I interrupted.
No. You can interrupt me at any time. We're here for you. But there has been an enormous amount of studying of how birds fly. So you've got a lot of data. Is there anything? Are you looking at something new? I guess is what I'm saying. It seems to me we should pretty much know everything about how a bird flies by this point. What else is there to learn?
Well, you're limited right now because airplanes, actually, a lot of the fuel is kept in the wings.
Oh, yeah, right.
So that's where they do a lot of the fuel storage. And you're also limited to how much they can flap, which is how birds make that energy.
Right.
So there is actually a lot to look into in that direction that hasn't really been available before.
So are you telling me that one of the planes or one of the prototypes actually has wings that flap?
Not yet.
Not yet,
no,
okay.
that hasn't happened.
Okay.
But every bird flies a little bit differently.
Right.
They have just a slightly different flight method, which is incredible. And hey, like, you might be studying birds for 20 years, but you're studying them for a different reason than we are.
Sure.
And we're also making it mutually beneficial. So a portion of our profits are going to go to avian nonprofits. We want to do, we're a social benefit corporation, so we want to work with them. We want to prevent climate change as a whole. So we want to help endangered birds. We want to help restore their habitats. We want to help all methods of flight be more sustainable.
Yeah. That's amazing. So that's why it's called feather flights or feathered flights.
Feather flights.
Okay. All right. And in conjunction with this, you had mentioned that you kind of have to develop a new software to take care of the differences between a fueled aircraft and an electric aircraft. So tell me about that.
Yes, so we have to design a new monitoring system because we're going to be looking for completely different variables than what's monitored right now with existing airplane software. So I'm a programmer myself and started looking into what I need to know to not only design that software, but also who do I need to hire and in what fields, what specialties, all of that. But for how much I had to learn just to be able to hire people, just to be able to write enough that, like, hey, we're a startup, we don't have that much funding, like, hey, I have to do a lot myself.
Right.
I'm new to programming. It hasn't been my specialty. I'm working with developers, doing it for years, but I didn't really find anything that I could learn from in the way that was beneficial for me. I want to be able to put something together like Canva or Squarespace where I can just drag it, drop like an application really fast, get it done for a meeting. That's who I am.
Right.
But I also need to know the coding behind what I put together. So I want to be able to click on the elements and be taught exactly like how is this button made, and I need to be able to do that in a bunch of different languages. So we designed the software. The website is raz.software. We got an MVP out already, but it actually, you just like that, you put it all together. We're focusing on phone apps first because it's an there's a lot of supply for like web applications, drag and drop like programs, not so much for phone apps. And as a startup founder, I kind of always need an app to go with whatever startup I've made. So we're going with phone apps as kind of being our specialty. So you drag and drop your app together, and you pick a language that's applicable to your business. So say you need something on the Apple Store, you need to learn Swift, and you need an extension of your business. So like you sell cat toys and you need a marketplace app. You can drag and drop that together, but you also want to be able to program. So like you click on a button, okay, in Swift, this is what this button is comprised of. And we have an AI teacher that walks you through it so you can ask questions and it's interactive.
Cool. 100 years ago, I started learning HTML so I could build my own website. So
Awesome.
That's how old I am. And for all of you out there, I still have a GeoCities site. So, and now, I mean, with Wix and Weebly and some of the others, I mean, it's all drag and drop. You know, you have to. It's like using a calculator. You have to know a little bit of math, you know, to know what you're adding and subtracting. But and that's what you're trying to do with the app version of. You know, you're trying to do a drag and drop, build your own app.
Yes.
Kind of thing. Cool.
So it's an app builder, and it also teaches you programming.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you're in all of this. You're learning how birds fly.
Yes.
You're learning coding.
Yes.
You're learning how to build apps.
Yeah.
You're learning how to build planes.
Yeah.
Are you going to learn to fly?
Yes.
Okay.
You
You have to.
I have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking into getting my private license or my private pilot's license right now. I'm doing my ground school, which you have to complete before you can start doing your like test flights that are actually off the ground.
Yeah.
I mean,
Really? So now you have to finish ground school before you can even take up the plane at all?
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
wow.
well, at least in the program I was
Okay.
looking or talking to,
Yeah.
it's similar to getting your driver's license. You have to pass that written test. So you have to know like the inside, like what all the controls
Sure.
are and like what all the laws are, and it's a written test.
Wow. Yeah, no. I'm familiar with the test. I just I went out and I learned to fly in Southern California down the desert, so down in Palm Springs area, and so I went down to the school and I said, okay, I want to sign up, and I'd say, okay, here, sign here, give me your money, okay, be here tomorrow morning at 8:00. So I go down there tomorrow morning at 8:00. We go out and get in the plane, and we started flying. I had to do this the ground school concurrently with the lessons, but I was getting flying lessons like right off the bat, and I mean I soloed before I even passed my test, and then you had to pass the test to get your license. But yeah, it was cool. That's why I loved it. That's why I was so excited, because it's like in the beginning, I thought the same way that you did. Oh, I got to go through all this whole, because the ground school, it sucks. It's boring as hell. I mean, learning all the weather patterns and all the other shit, but map reading and stuff like that. I just want to get up there. So, but I guess that's the smarter way to do it. But it's just like, but you've got an instructor right there.
Yeah.
In the plane. So I mean, worst case scenario is they grab the plane away from you, but it's anyway. So never mind. That's neither here nor there.
When was that? If you don't mind me asking.
1980, late 70s, early 80s.
So the likelihood of me finding this place and having the same experience is probably unlikely.
Listen, right here at the North Las Vegas Airport, from what I've heard, but I'll find out for you, they have a pretty good school there too.
Really?
Yeah, and there's some online classes that you can take to help you with the ground school. Kind of like not a cheat sheet, but a kind of like a helper course. But yeah, I'll check it out and find out. And like I said, I heard they were pretty good. So, well, that was before the pandemic, so I don't know if they're all still alive or anything. But no, but there is no feeling like it in the world. There is nothing like it. I mean, I started out hang gliding. And that's when I got hooked, and I thought, okay, well, this is cool, but now I want a little more control. And that's when I said, and my wife at the time, every year I said, yeah, this year I'm going to go get my pilot's license. And she said one day after a couple of years of hearing this, she goes, look, either go do it or shut up. I don't want to hear any more about it. And I said, well, okay, I'll show you. So that Saturday I went down, and that's when I signed up. But it's incredible. I mean, it's just an amazing feeling. I mean, if you've flown in a regular plane, it's nothing like that. Because in the smaller planes, the Pipers and stuff like that, I mean, you're right there. And even if you're just a passenger, in the 4-passenger thing, you can see everything that's going on. So it's a whole different experience. And yeah, you will love it. You will absolutely love it. So, and the first time you get the solo, and I asked the instructor, I said, okay, so how do you know when a student's ready to solo? And she said, I just know. You know. And you'll know too. And I said, okay. And there was a point when I thought, oh, okay, I got this. And so she said, okay, come on, let's do some touch and goes. That's where you come in and you land and you just touch down and you take right off again. And so she said, okay, this time land and let's go back in. So we stopped and we pulled in, and she goes, don't shut it off. And she goes, okay, you're going to go do your solo now. And I'm like, what? But it was like I was scared shitless, but it was like once I got up there and it was like, oh, okay, this is cool, I got this. And she was right, you know it. You know I got control of this aircraft and I can do it. You're just gonna, I can't wait to, when you go out there to take your first flight or your first solo or something, you call me. I want to be out there and see. So anyway, when I did my first solo, my wife was out there, and she said, this guy came up to her, and he said to her, oh, you know somebody? He goes, yeah, my husband's up there. He's going to do his first solo. And he goes, hang on a second. He goes, I just did my last flight. I'm retiring. He goes, wait here. I'll be right back. So he came back in about 5 minutes, and he gave her a coffee cup. And it said, if you ain't a pilot, you ain't shit. And he said, my instructor gave this to me when I did my first solo. Please give this to your husband. And I never met the guy, and that was it. So I had that cup for years and years and years until it broke. So anyway, so I'm sorry, folks. This show is about Gladney and feather flights. But you can see I mean, I can't be the only one that's excited as hell about this. I mean, there's got to be some enthusiasm out there that's just beyond imaginable. And it's the faith that I have in young people today is you're the ones that are going to make this all happen. You know, that's where change comes from. It doesn't come from people like me. It comes from people like you that are just starting your life. And I know how old you are, so I'm not thinking that you're a kid. I understand that. But from my perspective, you're way down there. But so please don't get discouraged. You can make this happen. I know you. I know that you know, once you get passionate about something, you're going to knock it out of the park. So I'm just really jazzed. So you're going to come back in a couple of weeks, and every couple of weeks or every month, and say, okay, here's what's happening, and you know, we've did this and we've got this, and you know, now we've whipped this problem. And so anyway, I'm going to shut up now, and it's your turn to talk.
Yes. So thank you for saying that. Recently, somebody I really care about made me feel really ancient, and it kind of broke my heart. And I won't get into that. But I had a conversation with my dad this week, and I'm kind of at that age where it's like, I'm helping you and I support you and I believe in you, but you also like, you need to be able to like support yourself, and
right.
You know, you're
Sure.
at that kind of like in between phase of your life. And I'm at the age where my mom had me. And that's pretty surreal because like I don't even like kind of have that.
Oh, your mother is your age when she had you.
Yeah.
I mean, your mother. Yeah, your mother was the age that you are now when she had you. Got
Yeah.
it. Okay, I'm with you.
And I don't even like kind of have that on my like life pipeline.
Right. And that's okay.
Is it?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm starting not one but two companies because we're doing feather flights,
right.
And Raz
and the
Develop.
software, yeah.
Yeah. So it's called Raz Develop because I was building this app, and my cat, her name is Raz, and I got so frustrated I asked her to just finish the app for me because, you know, I'm a cat lady and that's what we do.
Right.
And I went out to dinner with my dad. And he's like, well, what frustrates you so much about programming? And like, what would you like to have? And I was like, I'd like to be able to reverse engineer an app and learn that way. And I can't really find that in the way that I need it. And,
right.
And he's like, let's build it. And it's been amazing. And he's a longtime programmer. He's been doing this for decades. So it's cool to be able to work on a project.
So you have a resource when you need something that, you know, that's awesome.
I'm his apprentice. He's a longtime CEO. He's really experienced, and we have this really cool marketing campaign about teaching my cat how to code, and it's adorable. I am so excited to start posting the videos, and it's cool to be able to work on a project with him, but it's still at that like, okay, now I have to like talk to you as my business partner that also like I need to stop supporting, but we also have to get a business off the ground, and you're doing two companies at once, and you you're not having a kid, and I don't know that you will if you're going to have two companies like
Right.
this. And that was a pretty, like, wow. I left kind of, that was quite a conversation.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I guess you can't really plan how your life's going to go. Just sometimes life is life.
You can make the effort and hope that it turns out the way you think it does, but that don't always happen. And you just have to be able to, you have to be resilient. And you have to go, okay, that didn't work, now let's go this direction, you know, and okay, that didn't work, let's go that direction. I mean, that, you know, that if you're coding or you know, okay, well this doesn't work, so I got to figure something else out, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like that. So life's kind of like that sometimes.
Life's kind of like that sometimes.
Yeah.
But I actually, I talked to UNLV. They have this really cool cybersecurity program that I'm going to start. I start in a few weeks, and that's apparently really useful for the airline industry. A lot of airlines, they are in like extreme need of cybersecurity professionals. So being able to do like freelance work in that field while we're getting started too, I'm really excited. And that also is like a really nice bridge between both companies. So that's going to be kind of a focus I have for the next few months.
I'm going to hook you up with a cybersecurity expert.
Please.
To be your mentor.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I want to see this happen. You know,
Thank you.
I don't know how much time I got left, but I want to see this happen. I want to be around to see an electric airplane. I want to ride in an electric airplane. I want to fly an electric airplane.
Well, when we have our first sustainable air show, I'm looking in the beginning of next year. You'll be able to do that, and you're a pilot, still certified.
No, my license has expired.
Okay.
But I can fake one on Microsoft Word. I can fake one. I just have to show it to somebody. Here's my license, right?
Yeah, I had a professor, one of our first days of class. It was really funny. So he told us that he skipped his master's and just went straight for his PhD. And he said he was completely, he was like the dumbest person in the class the whole time. But hey, he's like, I didn't have to do a master's. Like, that's just who I am as a person. And then he also gave us this other question. And he's like, so I am a big fan of saving time. And I also want to know which of you are actually passionate about like economics. That's my degree.
Right.
And this was one of my first upper level classes, so it's kind of like, do you really want this to be your degree?
Yeah.
Like we're at that point where like leave today and tell someone. But he was like, I can fake. I printed out hundreds of fake Harvard degrees. So if I could just give you a fake Harvard degree paper and tell you that it would work anywhere today, would you still want to sit in this class? And half of us were like, no. No.
No, give me it. I'm out of here.
And for the other half, he was like, okay, you actually want to know this material. You actually think that knowing this is going to change your life. And that's what it is. They teach you how to think. And the really weird thing about an econ degree is, so like microeconomics, and 2 hours later you have macroeconomics, and everything you learned in micro they disprove in macro. And they'll tell you about, oh well, this guy had 8 years to prove this and it failed. Then the other class is like, this guy had another 8 years and it failed. And then you're going on like long term versus short term. Well, if this was implemented longer, would it have worked? We don't know. But actually, now that you're all at the end of your degree, can we all agree that nothing has worked? And that everything you've learned has actually been a waste of time.
Yep.
Because nothing worked at all, and you really should have just taken that fake Harvard degree the first day and walked.
And make it up as you go along.
Yeah, because that's what we all did.
Yeah. So that's amazing. Yeah, I would like that guy. So.
Oh, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, so what else do you want us to know?
Please visit one of our websites, so feather.flights or raz.software. We really need social media followers.
Okay.
So Feather Flights and Raz Develop.
Okay, and that's feather.flights.
Yes.
And raz, R-A-Z, .software.
Yes.
That's the application, right? Okay. So, and are these on, okay, so these are websites. Are you also on Facebook,
Yes.
Instagram,
Yes.
Twitter,
Yes.
MySpace?
No.
No. Sorry.
Maybe we should make MySpace just to have it.
Oh, yeah. Wait. How about Meta?
What is Meta?
You don't know what Meta is?
I don't know what Meta is.
Okay, so our friend Mr. Zuckerberg has been taking a lot of heat and for Facebook, and he's actually changed the name to Meta, the corporate name, META.
That's not true.
That is true. That's the honest to God truth. I want you to go home and I want you to Google Zuckerberg and Meta, or just Meta, and you'll see he is creating an alternate reality, like almost like a VR world, where you can go and buy property and hang out, and kind of like a 21st century version of Sims. So yeah, it's you need to check it out. I'm absolutely serious. So and this is for I always say reality is for people who can't face science fiction. So anyway, so yeah, we're kind of running out of time. This is your chance to give us some special nuggets of knowledge, or something. If someone wants to get involved, what do they do? How can they do that?
Please follow us on social media. So it's at Feather Flights.
Okay.
I think our Instagram, I had to be at Feather_Flights.
Okay.
I believe. And also at Raz Develop. So the joke is, like, I'm teaching my cat how to develop. So Raz Develop.
That would be cool.
Well,
and that's something a cat lady would do. Yeah.
It is something a cat lady would do. But from the Cat Cafe, we actually got to work with this startup where they had an interactive like touchscreen, and we have a coffee table that we were going to have in the cafe where the cats could press and play with like fish and all these different things. So I'm doing.
Wait. Do you know Phelps?
Phelps?
Yes.
I don't know Phelps.
Okay. This goes back a little ways, but he was a cat that was rescued by Sue and Steve Honorato.
Okay.
And he started playing with an iPad and was making some amazing pictures with this, Anyway, so.
Well,
never mind.
Me. Well, we use some
I'm
artwork,
excited.
so please. But if I can get it that you can actually drag the stuff together with the drag and drop editor, we win. Like, I want that to be the first commercial. So we're working on that. She's a really brilliant cat, so I feel like I'm actually going to have success with this.
Okay.
And she's also like, hey, I get to entertain her all day.
What is her position with the company going to be?
I haven't thought of a title.
Okay.
So at the cafe, we were going to call them boss cats, and we got like cute little collars for the host cats. So other cat cafes, they were like, you need to have a few permanent cats that absolutely love being there.
Yeah.
Like, you just need to have that.
Right.
So we were going to call them boss cats. I kind of wanted to think of something more unique for her, though. Like see Meowo or something. Like I haven't quite thought of it yet, but I'll think of something.
Oh, cool. So anyway, I hope you'll come back and keep us informed and let us know.
Absolutely.
I'll get this out. We'll have the information on the screen so you guys can check this out. I'm blown away. I'm really excited. I'm so happy that you were here to share this with us. And now I can't wait. I'm going to be bugging you every other day. Are you there yet? Are you there yet? Are you there yet?
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate
no problem. That's why we're here. That's what this is all about.
Wonderful.
So and it's obviously that Rhea is someone who does it with styles. So and I'd like to thank all of you for joining us and supporting us here at WWDBTV, and also don't forget our Roku channel, WWDBTV. And we got some good stuff on there. And remember, if you're going to do it with styles. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice work, John.